Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
It feels weird now that Chris Jericho does the hi guys. Like, it's so close. I don't know.
Are we going to sit under your learning tree tonight,
No,
Dave?
there's no. I don't know what there is to learn.
From
Um,
you, there's a lot. You've got a lot. You've got a
I,
lot.
I'm. I guess I've got experience, if nothing else.
It's
But
true.
hi.
Hi. I was gonna make a Joe Hendry joke, and I was gonna say your name and have you appear,
Have me appear.
but you jumped in with the Chris
It's
Jericho one first,
it's
so
audio. I can't just appear.
it's true. It's true. It is audio, though we might have a
You wouldn't
couple.
know.
Though we might have some surprises this week. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what happens on this show? I sure don't.
If you don't, then
But I do know that I'm not supposed to bury the lead, right? That's like
no.
a thing that I'm not supposed to do every week.
Not on this post-holiday long weekend
Yeah,
episode.
that's right. This will be airing after Independence Day. So welcome to Earth and and all the other fun quotes
Yeah,
from that wonderful classic movie. But
but not the sequel.
not no, either of them. Neither of them. But yeah, so this week's guest, returning guest, friend of the pod,
Yes.
somebody that we hold very dear here on Adventures in Collecting. We had the privilege of meeting him in person finally last year at New York Comic Con, which was absolutely splendid. But the hustle man himself, MItch of Hasttel Toy of Grapplers and Gimmicks, is back. It has been a hell of a ride for him recently. Lots of new toys, lots of new signings, very exciting things. It's been awesome to watch this toy line grow. So we are excited to welcome back MItch. MItch, welcome back to Adventures in Collecting, buddy.
What's up, guys? How's everything? Happy 4th of July. We're here. We got beer in hand. We're doing good. I got the patriotic shirt on, if you could see it in internet land, and I'm just happy to be here again. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, for those that again, there might be a special little video element to this week's episode, but that lead I will bury. But Mitch and I are rocking some matching tank tops. Dave is is very he's wearing a Hellraiser shirt.
He's
Dave
got
is
the
in
Doug
uniform.
Bradley on.
Yeah.
He's got the Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's perfect. Well, Mitch, yeah, man. Well, welcome back to the show. It's been a while since we've chatted, but we're excited to hop back in with you and catch up on all of the amazing things that you're up to. Constantly moving and hustling, as is your namesake. So,
Yeah.
you're living
It's
living
a
up
curse
to the hype.
sometimes, It's a curse sometimes. But yeah, I'm here. We're chugging along here with the Grapplers and Gimmicks and the Hasttel Toy machine, and we're very excited about our Regium series. However you pronounce it, just remember the name. Hopefully, just remember the name, and yeah, we got a lot of exciting things for that. A lot of surprises coming in store for everybody with that toy line, our 6-inch fully articulated figures. I can't talk, people. My brain's shutting down for 4th of July. I apologize if I stutter or mumble. It could also be the beer. I mean, I am a one beer drunk these days. If I have one beer, I'm usually dancing on the table. So I don't know. But
You'll have to add cheap date to your
Yeah.
hey, you know what?
It's all that weight you lost. That's what did it. You lost all that weight.
That's what it is, man.
Now you're a cheap date. That's what it is.
It's a weird
Yeah.
thing. It's funny you mentioned that, because even sometimes, like, because it's still so new, like getting back to like my happy weight, I guess. Not happy for eating, but happy in like just the health position. Because I like to eat, but it's just it's even when I get up, sometimes I'll go into the bathroom and then I'll look in the mirror when I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm like, it's weird. Sometimes it's weird because I'll still be in dreamland, and I forget sometimes that like, who is this guy? Who's this guy I'm looking at right now? But I'm happy and I feel a lot better. I feel a lot
That's
better
awesome.
physically. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing for me when years ago when I lost a bunch of weight, I just remember being annoyed that all of a sudden I felt cold all the time. Like I didn't have like
It's what I'm
the
experiencing
proper
right now. Actually, I'm here
insulation.
in my basement vault, and uh, and it's very cold down here, especially when you have the air conditioning on. This room is not very insulated, so it gets very
I've
cold
always
here.
been warm no matter what my weight is, but the one that I have was I had to shave my beard for Halloween for Eric's oldest daughter's costume, and I looked at
Oh, nice.
myself and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah, you without the
No,
facial hair was a bit much. Like
Yeah,
it had been too long.
I look like a
And
large child.
yeah, let's
I do too. Actually, a baby even with my bald head, it
Yeah.
definitely has baby qualities.
I
I
was Uncle Fester. I had the bald cap on. I was like, I
Oh,
look like
I don't even need that, bro. Like I
yeah.
got it. Like I just wear if I get in my house coat, like, oh, I call it. My wife makes fun of me. My bathrobe. If I get in my bathrobe, it's black and it's like fleece. And if hey, I'm like Uncle Fester. It's pretty funny.
Mhm.
It's a good visual.
So Grapplers and Gimmicks, you mentioned it at the top there, has grown significantly since the last time we all chatted together. We've seen Nelson Frazier, we've seen Bobby Horn, Carlito. Catch us up. What's hitting now? What's arriving in your collector's hands, and what's kind of on the horizon here?
Well, literally, I mean, it's good timing with the pod. Literally within the last like 7 days, I think ish. Not necessarily a week's time, but 7 days. Uh, I've shipped out like over 600 packages. We got in those packages we have the Wild Man in his red attire. Uh, we got the Wild Man in his yellow limited edition attire. And we had the Canadians, aka the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre,
Nice.
in their not Mountie outfits, and then we had the limited edition black Mark Merrow. So so yeah, those were going out. People are posting them as we speak, I think, and good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. I mean,
Motivational speaker now, Mark Merrill,
Yeah.
right?
yes, he actually. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. He is a he is a very nice guy in real life. I enjoy speaking with him. I enjoy communicating. Very easy. Like you know I I have no complaints with Mark Marrow. He's a great guy. Very nice. So, but there will be
So,
a Johnny B. Bad coming. By the way, I don't know if I'm
oh,
just
awesome.
dropping bombs here, but there will be a Johnny B. Bad. I don't know what we're gonna call it. Maybe it is Johnny B. Bad. I don't know what the thing is, but this is newly inked information that literally just happened this afternoon. So it will happen.
You could always just add an extra D, and then it covered
No,
at
it
the
was one
end.
less. You got to
Oh,
take one out.
yeah,
Yeah, or BEE Bad. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like he's a
like
Yeah.
bumblebee now. We just put him in
yeah.
that yellow outfit again.
You just got to go. You got to go the classic WWE Taz route and just add, add an extra
Yes,
letter.
the
Yeah.
extra Z. Didn't they do that with the Dudley Boys too, or something like that? Wasn't there like a? I don't know.
That was,
I might be
I think,
making that up.
TNA when they were Brother
Yep,
Ray
Yeah,
and
and then
Brother
they became
Devon.
Team 3D, and then they
Yeah.
tried a
yep.
bunch of different ways. But now they're the Dudley Boys again. If you go to Bojangles, you can get the. I think didn't they make a Dudley Boys cup?
A cup.
So
There's like a New Day sandwich.
yeah, and I have a Bojangles that just opened near my house here in beautiful Canton, Ohio. So I think I'm gonna visit them this weekend at some point and see if I can get some of
Yeah.
these cups. So
And I remember we talked about this way back, when you started kind of signing these contracts. What's it been like, keeping that going and forming these relationships with these, people that we enjoy, like we all enjoyed watching them, when we were younger.
Hmm.
What's it been like, kind of having now a professional relationship with them?
I mean, it's great because with my like short-lived, 10-year span of being involved in the wrestling business, as far as like both a talent and then also like DJing the wrestling, like indie wrestling events and stuff like that. So I kind of pulled double duty a lot of the times on those shows. It was cool to start interacting with them then, and then a few years later, we fast forward, and then we had the online thing, and then the Instagram. It turned into whatever it turned into, and then it turned into an actual store, and then from the store we kind of evolved into making our own stuff. So a lot of these relationships I had already established, thankfully, through having these wrestlers appear for autograph signings at the stores, because we kept upgrading. Then we eventually moved here from New York, so it was cool that I kind of already had that base, and you know Charles Wright, the Godfather, he was the first guy to give me a chance, I guess, allow me to make a figure of him, and that was that's kind of where it all started. And as I said before, in the past, like, it was just supposed to be that one figure. It was never supposed to be an entire toy line, and that's why I put myself, my family, my friends on the back, and the people that were involved, and then all the people who purchased got their name on this, wall of fame, I guess, and love and support. And then it just snowballed, and then, Tony came after, and then it was off to the races after that. I just caught the wave, I guess. I got lucky, because everybody knows everybody. And then, between the guys that, I had already established relationships with, that kind of spawned into, you know, maybe referrals and things like that. Of, hey, what about this guy? What about this guy? And, at one point I was like, whoa, I want to make a ton. I want to make everybody, but I can only do so much at once. Like, I'm not a multimillionaire, still not a multimillionaire, sadly. But you know, I just grew, and then we obviously not shifted because we're still going to make the vintage style. Um, but now, as we were saying, like, we're going to be doing the 6-inch style now, the fully articulated figures, and this is like a different challenge, which is something that I love now, because I don't ever want to become like complacent with what I'm doing. I always want to evolve and kind of like do something different. It keeps me entertained, like, in a business aspect. Like, it keeps me always looking for like the next big thing, I guess. What can we do next? What can we sink our teeth into? It's fun. It's my weirdness. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think that's kind of par for the course, though. Even with like the collecting or the making, it is the always striving for perfection, or having that kind of addictive personality to just kind of keep
yep,
everything moving and keep everything coming in and all that.
hundred
And
percent.
one of the things that we've seen from you is just the product continuing to improve and grow in quality and just get better and better as it's gone on. So you've seen that with each release, from the figures themselves to even just the packaging and the continuity with the packaging and the improvement in it.
Yep.
What's led to these improvements over really such a short time span?
It's I think a lot of it has to do with me wanting to, like, I really, really, like, my goal, like, I guess my, like, brass ring was like, I wanted to I really wanted to I wanted my figures to look as if they came out of 1994, 95, or whatever it was. Like, if you put one of mine next to an old Hasbro figure, I wanted it to, if somebody wasn't in the know, I wanted them to think that, wow, I didn't know they made a Mark Merrill when we were kids. Like, it fits, it fits right in. Like, it's seamless, right? Like, that's what they say. So, every time I did it or I made a figure, I always try to, like, what can I do to make this, like, better and better and better, and just try to, like, make it closer, like, closer to the Hasbros. And you know the most gratifying thing now is, like, I was just listening to the most recent Major Pod, and even like Cardona said, like, and it literally brought a tear to my eye, only because of my long-term friendship with him, even though sometimes he breaks my balls. uh was that he finally said, like, Mitch is Mitch has got the closest thing to the old Hasbro's now. Like they literally said it on the podcast, and that really meant a lot. Like that I finally I feel like if these guys are the aficionados of wrestling figures, right? In a lot of the public's eye, then for them to say something like that really, yeah, it really meant a lot. So I feel like maybe I've reached that point, but I still want to like. There's always little things that even like as flawless as I feel like this is, or as a lot of people are saying, like I still think there's certain things that I still want to like even do better. So, even if it's a 1% improvement as we go on, it's still an improvement nonetheless. So
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because like Dave mentioned it, and I'm sitting here, and as you're answering the question, I'm thinking about it, like the amount of time between that Charles Wright figure and the Mark
Mm-hmm.
Marrow that you just showed. And this is no knock to that Charles Wright figure, because like I don't know how to make an action figure. Dave does not
no,
know how to make an
I get
action
it.
figure. It's trial by fire. You literally jumped in. You held your nose, closed your eyes, and jumped in. And like sometimes there's no better way to learn. Like
It's true.
but the night and day difference between that figure
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and even the Frazier figure
Even Nelson Frazier,
that we saw
Yeah.
at New York Comic Con. Like when I held that, that is the first time that I have held something, and this is no
and it
knock.
felt
This is no knock to anything that anyone else is doing, Mattel included. I felt
Right.
like I was holding a Hasbro, and I looked
Mhm.
at you were busy because you were doing your thing. You were hustling
Oh
around,
yeah, hustling around.
and I looked at Dave, and I just kind of gave him this look of like
Mhm.
oh my god, and like handed it over to him, and he was
The
like,
boy did
oh
it.
my god, you did it.
Yeah. It was like holding Yokozuna. Like it was
Yes.
just like
Yep. Where it was like if
Like,
I
the
put
Heavily
weight was
inspired
there.
by that,
if I put Nelson Frazier in a sock and I swung it and hit somebody, I'm knocking him out. Like
you would
Yeah.
hurt them real bad.
Mhm.
Trust me, I did it once. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's and that's some of the things. It's like there's so much to contend with because other than Mattel, nobody can really afford to do the action features, right? So
Yeah.
it's a question of taking that out of the equation. It's a question of nailing. All right, does it look right and the weight?
yeah,
And
feel right?
like
Does it have that
Mhm.
shine? Does it like
Right. The
anyone that has
proverbial shine.
anyone that has
Mhm.
played with Hasbro's, everyone knows what it's like to hold one of
to
those
hold them,
figures. Like it's
and it's
Yes.
the only way you can describe it is by saying like, oh yeah, like holding a Hasbro figure.
yeah,
Like
Yep.
because you can't quantify it verbally, you just know it.
Right.
And so to like, I remember holding that Nelson Frazier and being like, this is it.
yep,
Yeah, I think that was when
He
we
did it.
finally took that.
He went in the lab and he got it.
Exactly. I mean, it's. I still love the Ahmed Tony. I thought it.
yeah. It's a
It
great
was
figure.
definitely. He does have the shine. Because with these we definitely had. You could hear there was this was ABS in the chest there. So I tried to do that. To the best of my ability with these first ones. I love him. I still love him. I still love this. Like you said before, I still love the Smoke Train. It'll always have a special spot in my heart, but I would be like delusional if I didn't say that, by the time we got to even Tony Norris, where it's already started pivoting as far as sculpts go, and then when you, no pun intended, but you took a huge leap, like you said, with that Nelson and Bobby. Even, I mean, we can't forget poor Bobby. He looks great too.
No, he does.
Mhm.
But there's just such girth on that Nelson Mabel or whatever you want to call him. You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that people appreciate, the strides and the leap of faith, as you say, and it's just it's very gratifying. And like I said, this I only listened to this because it only got released this afternoon or this morning, so I was listening to the other pod, and I just you know, I couldn't believe my ears almost. I was like, oh shit, did they really just say that? Like, all right,
Now the bar is really high. That's the
Mhm.
the bar is
that's
really
it.
high.
You got to keep the bowl in the air, right? So
Well,
Yeah.
we're
well,
hoping to do that.
speaking of raising the bar, though, you know, before we hop off of this line and into your newest venture, the stars aligned for a bunch of creators and designers out there in the past like year or so with opportunities to bring Macho Man Randy Savage into these toy lines, right? Like
Yeah,
it kind of
that
worked
was
out.
this is like a dream come true too. I mean, like, even when I announced it, I did a video and it was like the boyhood dream comes true again. Like, did I ever like if you had gone back to '94 and said, "Hey, listen, whatever," because I was customizing up until like the early 2000s. I was painting my own Hasbros and stuff. But like, if you had gone back and said, "Hey, you're gonna make an officially licensed Macho Man figure," but not only one, I can't find the other one right now. He's here somewhere, but I have a mess on my desk. But it's just it literally is a dream come true. It's unreal, and I love them. I love the way they came out. I feel like these are people when people get these and they're gonna be like, "Holy shit! This is a Hasbro we never got." Like that's the way I want it to feel, you know. And people were saying, "Oh, it looks like it kind of looks like the other one," but let me see if I can get over here real quick.
Well, the
Like,
original with the coat was a jumper.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you could see there are some similarities, but it's not a blatant copy or ripoff. I always this figure always I loved it because of its colorfulness, and I used to make him come to the ring like this, and then he would switch into the other Macho Man or whatever.
Yep.
Even though he would never remove his pants in real life, but still, it was kind of cool, you know,
Yeah.
because that's what we had to do back then. You had to use your freaking imagination. Not like now; these kids are so spoiled. They got removable this, removable that. They got trash cans. They got tables. Like, I used to have to use cardboard as a table, like with 4 nails in it as a breakaway table. Like, it's just insane. Like the stuff that I had to go through. I used to use
set tape cases.
little
one of
things
those
in the pizza boxes, the little like white circular
yes,
tape.
the round ones, yes.
Yep, those
You know,
I used to use
those worked really
cassette
well.
tape cases too. Cassette tape cases were great tables.
That
'cause
works.
They made a loud
Yeah,
noise.
I used to take those and I would put a piece of Scotch tape over the top of it, so then it would fold like this, and then I would put like a piece of cardboard under it, so when you slammed them into it, it would break. Like the 2 tape cases would break. So I'm on the same page, boys. You know.
Yep.
But it always pissed me off for the fact that they gave him the hat, they gave him the jacket, but they never gave him the sunglasses. So if you're gonna put all that crap on him, why would this be the one Macho Man Hasbro that doesn't have glasses? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. So that's when we did this one, and I said, we got to give him. He's got to have the whole kit and caboodle. He's got to have the jacket, the glasses, and the hat. And I don't think they should be removable. I wanted them to be molded on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the upcoming weeks, we're going to see everything unfold, and we're going to see the other Macho that has his wrestling gear from WrestleMania 8, as we know. And we'll see this one in its full color glory. And it'll all make sense. It'll all come together. So that's it for that.
So you mentioned the WrestleMania 8 gear. What made you go with that for that figure?
I feel like it's still in like was it 93, right? It was still in like that era, like that it could have potentially have been a Hasbro figure, right?
Got it.
Part of it
they
was
made
too
a flare, so.
right, and the red trunks. So
yes,
I and plus I wanted to do a figure all in gold, just because, you know, there was still that little bit of you know, stigma from the Men on a Mission thing and all that other stuff. So there was a couple of reasons, but I always loved that match, and I loved that the match, you know, it didn't end with like a finishing move or something. Like, it was a roll up. Like, I don't know, there was something about it was just something, and I love Macho Man, obviously, or else I wouldn't have paid the big bucks to get his royalties, you know, his permission. So I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons. It was one of my favorite WrestleManias too back in the day. I just like that whole thing. Just his look. I thought it looked cool. And they always said Macho, like, when he was gonna win a belt, he would always wear something gold. Like, there was like some kind of like subliminal thing to that. But anyway, I thought it was cool. It was something that hadn't been done before, and we've rarely gotten that out. I think Mattel made an Elite of it, but really wasn't much of anything else,
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
but
So we talked about Macho Man. We've talked about a couple other pipeline things, but what are some other things that are kind of coming through the works for Grapplers and Gimmicks?
oh, we got a lot, man. I was just telling you guys, I think off air, that I had some surprises for you. I got a whole box of, now for people that don't, again, not everybody knows everything about toy stuff, and then there's even some people that think they know everything about it that really don't. Uh, but so it's like I got a whole box of test shots. So this is now pieces that are actually from the molds, that are like going to be finalized like within the next couple of months. So we got one of our bulldogs here. This is going to be the one with the long pants. They injected the legs in white because he's going to have like white, blue, and red, uh, throughout here. So this is going to be special edition. Where is it? And they sent me the sample for the card too, which is really cool. So
Very
that's how
cool.
it's going to look. Yeah. We got the artwork from
Nice.
Carl in the UK, and it looks cool. So that's going to be one of them. We got this also came, and this is literally, like I said, 2 or 3 days ago. I got these in the mail. This is a final mold, I guess, test shot from the one that we had done the pre-order from for the bulldog with the vest, like the Heart Foundation costume outfit. So he'll have this on his card. So he's cool. And then this is one that I'm very proud to do because this is going to be the first time that this incarnation of the Bulldog is going to be in action figure form. They've never made a Bulldog with this hair and this with the shorts. Um,
The
so,
bikers, yeah.
yeah, like when he came out in, what was it, 94? 94, 95-ish. So we're really excited about this one. I love the way it came out. I love the sculpt. There's so much detail here. I know my 2010 camera may not show all the good details, but
Oh,
but
that's great.
I'm proud of
Yeah.
this one. The aesthetics. So it's little things about the Hasbro's. I don't know if I ever mentioned this publicly before, but there's little things about the Hasbro's that I always remember in my mind. A lot of them had like, because they had the actions. So a lot of them had like, sometimes the waists were a little oversized, or like there were like certain little like aspects of them that. So we try to I try to maintain that too in these when we do these sculpts. So you can kind of it still has the appearance of an action maybe, but obviously it doesn't have it, as you
Yeah.
said before. But I just love the whole aesthetic of how they're designed, and I try to keep that in my when we do our stuff. We got this
Yeah.
back.
I
Go
I
ahead.
never thought about that. Yeah, there's like a
Hmm.
skew to the
Tiny leg.
proportions.
Yeah, they almost have like tiny legs.
But there's
Yeah.
an extra, the proportions are extra skewed because they
Mhm.
had to hide the springs and levers and stuff inside
Right.
the
Yeah.
chest cavity.
So maybe I'm giving away the trade secrets here. I don't know, but some of them have it, some of them don't. I try to like mix it up, like, and I try to keep it accurate. Like you'll see, like even him, like he doesn't really have it because the original one didn't have. He had the action with the arms, so they didn't
Yeah.
have to do that. You know what I mean? Uh, I like I said, we try to just kind of. I use it sparingly, but I think it works, and it kind of differentiates each figure from itself. Um, and then you got the guys that have like bellies and stuff. Like this. This one just came in as well. The mold is finished.
That's
Unbelievable. Wait,
amazing.
I,
wait,
w-
turn that
I
on
was.
again. It's that he's got the towel molded out of his
He's
pocket.
Yeah,
got a
Oh,
little
man.
towel, uh,
that's
and he's
awesome.
got the removable plunger, accessory. It's got a little flex to it, so it won't break, like kind of like the smoke train's stick. But yeah, this detail there, man. It's kind of like reminiscent of the Sid a little bit. It has that feel to it. I love this figure. Nice guy. I literally was just talking to him this afternoon. He called me. Well, he texted me, and then I called him and I said, was just giving him the updates. I said, dude, I literally just got your test shot, and I was explaining to him about what that means and everything. And it was cool, man, just to talk to him, and he's very happy. And I showed him the figure, and he's very excited about everything. And then we got the infamous toilet that will come with him as an accessory,
Amazing.
packaged with him. It has the poo. I know it's controversial for some reason. I mean, these are supposed to look like action figures from the '90s. Everything was off limits back then. I mean, nothing was off limits, is what I mean to say. The gloves were off. So it will have the toilet with the poo in it. We like that. And I also got this test shot, and I haven't even shown these on my Instagram or anything like that. So you guys this is like the first public appearance by these test shots. But yeah, we got the Frankie with the Coco, the bird. There's like a sweet spot on his
high
arm.
Energy Coco.
It is, yeah. In the beginning of High Energy, he still had the bird for a brief period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stopped carrying it. I guess it became too much of a hassle or whatever. So, or I don't know if that's the time where the house burned down and a bird died or whatever. I'm not sure, but he's here. We got him here. I didn't want to make it exactly the same as the Hasbro one, and I can actually grab him because he's right here on the edge of my display. But I got show and tell today, boys. I didn't want to make it exact. It's definitely different. It's sculpted from scratch. It doesn't have like the open beak. It's more of a chill Frankie. He's not looking to fly away here. Although I do like the spread wings here, but again, I wanted to do something. I wanted it to be a little bit different. So he's got the nice long feathers in the back there. I'm proud of this one. I think this one is going to be awesome. They're all going to be awesome, but I really am excited about the Coco. So, and I showed these I think a couple of weeks ago or last week or one of the other weeks, but these are the redone molds for the Bulldog and Diana. I did have the molds. The molds were done for the originals. They had seams. I wanted to do away with seams. I wanted to eliminate any of that unsightly stuff. So I literally spent quite a few $1,000s more, and I reinvested and I made new molds for these. So I think it's worth the wait. We got a couple extra months wait from what I anticipated, but I think it's for the best. I think people are going to be happy when they finally come out. And then we got the my friends here, the fabulous ones, the Rougeos. This is
so cool.
From the mold, from the injection mold. They're going to look really good. Like, they still have to put the Flores de Lis, I think that's what it's called. Still got to be put on here, and then it's still got to say Fabulo on the butt there. But this is the almost final product for the cape. I'm still gonna change it a little bit. So they're working on that now. They're gonna hate me, but and then we got Jacques here in his younger form. Not quite a Quebecer yet, even though technically he was a Quebecer in real life. So those guys will be coming sometime soon too.
I can hear the theme song now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes.
One of the all-time greats.
All American boys.
That's so good.
It is
so good.
From Montreal to Memphis back to New Orleans. That one.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm not a wedding singer.
So good.
But yeah, it was great. And but yeah, so that's some of the goodies that we got coming. And they're always hanging out with me over here too, the Quebecers. I'm excited. People are really digging them, and like I said, it's very, very gratifying hanging out with my boy Dan Spivey, also, aka Waylon Mercy. So he's gonna be a good one too. I'm looking forward to seeing it all painted up, and he can actually turn all the way around, which some people are obsessed with that for some reason. So I made sure he's got the sleeper hold arm, so he can do the old finishing move. It's going to be a good one. That one will be coming soon too. So
very cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So from classic retros or classic Hasbro style figures to something a little newer and a little more complicated, Grapplers and Gimmicks has grown into a second line. Tell us what led you to going down the road to to Regium.
It is
Regium.
Regium. It's realistically, hold on. I can't even pronounce it. No, it's basically Regium. The G is like a
Regium.
G. Yeah,
Okay.
but
All right.
Okay.
All right.
but but I still say Regium, and people say Regium. As long as you know who it is, and as long as you know where it's coming from, I don't care how you pronounce it. But I had to come up with something that was meaningful to me, but also was different from anything else anybody would ever think of, or anything anybody else would ever put out. I mean, you have ultimates, you got supremes, you got elites. There's what was the other one? Deluxe. There's just
Unmatched, unrivaled.
unmatched, unrivaled. There's just so many like over. I feel like they're overused, and I just wanted something different. So it has a little bit of a sentimental meaning for me. With the me learning to speak Latin, which that was I stopped doing that when I was 18. So we're talking 24 years ago. So but it's still, like I said, it was part of my childhood, and I wanted something that was a little different. So you say it however you want, but as long as you know it's my thing, I'm happy. That's it. But yes, we're starting this. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's a little harder when you're dealing with all these different points of articulation as opposed to four. And uh, I think we finally got it down to to the proper like movements, and the pieces are right now, and all the connecting pieces are where they need to be. And my sculptor Steph, he's a godsend. I'm so happy that he and I started working together. um, and he's happy too, because these are actually the first two figures, him and the Quebecers, the first three figures, I should say, that he sculpted that actually got put into production. So these are sentimental, for the company itself and for him. And I I have full confidence in his ability to make articulation. So they should be really awesome. I think people will be very happy. So
So what would you compare them to, like articulation wise? Are they going to be closer to something like an elite, or closer to something like a classic superstars? Like where are you at? Do you think in terms of?
they're gonna be like more like the Mattel or like the Jazzwares. They'll be
Okay.
you'll be able to do splits, and sit down, and super kicks, and the arms will be able to rotate, and the head will be able to swivel in most cases, unless there's like some kind of ridiculous hair or something on them. They'll be a little bit more limited, but they'll still be able to turn and move. And the stomach they'll have the ab crunch where they could sit up and
Okay.
kind of bend that way. We have some secret, cool, slightly innovative like mechanisms built into the articulation. So it won't be exactly like any of the other lines. Um, some of them will have like if you can imagine like a ratchet, they'll
Okay. Yep.
not a ratchet girl from
Yep.
the streets, but like a ratchet, like a tool that you use.
A
And
ratcheting joint. A
a
ratcheting
Yeah.
ratchet,
joint.
Ratchet.
yes. But it'll kind of click like almost like I guess the sound of a roller coaster. You know what I mean? But when you bend,
Hmm.
it won't just be floppy. Like, so the stomach won't just like fall down. It'll be a little bit more. There'll be resistance there, so you can kind of click them into place a little bit. It's
Okay.
cool. Like, we got some different stuff that some of it's going to be similar, obviously not the same exactly, but some of it's going to be like the point of articulation will be not on the side, but it's going to be in the back. So you won't have like that unsightly like round mark in front. It'll be in the back. So most people aren't going to pose their figures backwards. So it'll be in the back. So you won't, if you do like figure photography or something, you'll have less Photoshop to do. I try to take everything into consideration. They'll be very playable. Like, if you want to play with them and make them wrestle or whatever, uh, they'll be able to do that. You know what I mean? So it's there was a lot of trial and error. It wasn't as simple as just sculpting and parts and then sending it off. It had to be there had to be a lot more development involved and more complex. So yeah, they're going to be closer to multi-articulated figures that we have like currently in the
Cool.
marketplace. So.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and I mean, you've shown the designs for Al Snow, for Mark Canterbury, for Dennis Knight, and you've announced David Heath, which is
Oh yeah,
awesome. He's kind of made a little
I'm
bit of
excited
a
about that one.
comeback, and then Tony Norris as well.
Yeah, and we
And
got
you know, you've
plenty
shown some
in
of
the
that
works.
stuff.
I got
Um,
plenty more. So
Now,
some of them
will the
you'll be able to figure out, I'm sure. Because it's a lot of them are guys that we've done smaller versions of, but there's some surprises hidden in there. And I even I actually today, this is actually hot off the press. I think they still say that, but this is an image of. I'd say this is probably like let's give this like 75% done, maybe. It's not 100% there yet, but we're working on the Henry Godwin right now, or Mark
nice?
Canterbury. So you can see it's definitely has a lot more detail. Like I said, some things have to be added, some things have to be toned down, but this is basically like what we're looking at as far as like a base. Um, but yeah, it kind of looks a lot like him actually.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
We
that's
wanted
really
him to
cool.
still have the like that bad guy look to him because no matter what, he was always a tough son of a gun. Uh,
Hmm.
so he can kind of fit in. The hat, we're still working on the hat. Um, I will say, I'm trying not to give out too much here. I'm giving you guys a lot though, but because I appreciate you having me back. Um, the actual head is not going to have a molded on hat, so that hat will not be a, a, you know on this first head. So we're still toying with the idea of how we're going to do this because a lot of the time when you have removable items, I feel like they're either too bulky or they don't fit right or they just look too weird. So, especially if you want to give the hair lots of detail, it's hard to even if you mold the inside of the hat to fit the head, then it's like there's still some awkwardness there. There's nothing really like having something sculpted on like an actual accessory sculpted on because it's meant to be there. It's not meant to
Yeah.
be taken off. So there's a weird
Yeah,
dynamic, and I want to make these figures um, as awesome looking as possible, but also still like retaining like the ability to move and to be playable and stuff like that. So we're still figuring it out. I'm not sure 100% whether it's going to be a removable hat or if it's going to be another head that you can switch and you can give him a hatless head or you can give him the head with the hat on. So we're still in that phase now. But the main head will be the one without the hat because to date there's never been a Henry Godwin or a Mark Canterbury without a hat sculpted on.
Yeah, molded on.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah. And that was going to be my question: like extra heads and hats and accessories, or like how
we
are those going to be in play with the?
where it's needed, I think we're gonna try to go. I always try to go the extra mile. Like with these, when we originally showed these, like there was no cape, but then I was like, we need to give them capes. So yeah, it cost me a significant amount of money because these are not paper. They're not like cheaply made. They're double layered. Like there's two things sewn together here. So I didn't want to just go cheap, but I also didn't want to like go too much because I feel like we're still trying to keep that Hasbro mentality, right? So would have Hasbro definitely wouldn't have. They might not even given them capes, but uh, I don't want to stray too much from the source material. Like Berserker had like that felt cloak or whatever they call it, coat, whatever. It wasn't
Mhm.
it wasn't really well made. So this is really well made, but I didn't want to make it too um, too detailed. You know what I mean? Like we could have threw
Gotcha.
rhinestones on it. I could have really went the full Monty. But I feel like if you're putting that next to your other Hasbro stuff, it's probably not going to fit in as good as if you gave it like a nice color and you made a nice material, but just didn't overdo it. That's another
Yeah,
problem I
the
have with these figures. So
the Undertaker had the duster, so everything's fair game.
Yep.
yes, and it was a nice material. It had that. That's how you can tell the fakes from the real ones. They still had that stretchy. It's almost like an elasticity to it, but
Yep.
it wasn't. It wasn't like the greatest cloth ever made. You know what I mean? Like so. These you have to find that middle point where like you don't want to make them too detailed, but you still want them to be detailed enough where um, they're going to be recognizable, but also they're gonna look nice next to your other Hasbro stuff. So
Yeah.
it's the
And I mean,
opposite problem of, I think, what toy makers have these days. They want everything to be, it's got to look exactly like them, and it's got to have every point, like the toes got to bend. And all right, boys, like there's still action figures. We still got to maintain. There still has to be that spirit there. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
that's why like my vintage style or whatever you want to call them, they don't. I don't stray too far away from the source material. I just, I try to like, I have to hold back sometimes because I want it to be great, but I also don't want them to. I don't want it to be too much either. So.
well, with that, it's time to jump into our Q&A here. So,
Oh boy, hold on. Let me
we
take a
do
swig of
have
beer for the working man.
we do have some questions from our followers, but before we
Okay.
jump in, Dave, remind our listeners how can they submit questions for future episodes?
Yeah, so before we record, so usually you'll see it on like a Sunday or Monday. In our Instagram story, we will end in an Instagram post and a Threads post, and wherever you see it on social media, your social media, um, like your social media weapon of choice, we'll call it. You'll see a story and a post saying like, "Hey, we're gonna have Mitch from Hasttel Toy on. Do you want to ask Mitch a question?" Or whomever the guest is. I'm just saying Mitch because he's our guest this week.
Sure
And
is.
there'll be a spot for you to tap on that or click on it or whatever it is you do, and add your question, and then we get to see it and we get to put it on this list of questions that we have. So make sure to slam those like buttons and follow and all that good stuff on your Instagrams and Threads and X's and Facebooks and YouTubes.
Perfect, Dave. As always, this week we have whittled it
It's been a
down.
while. I was a little rusty.
You were good. It was exactly what it needed to be,
I was
as it always
impressed.
is. Um, this
That's
week,
my learning tree, by the way.
perfect. We've
Oh, here
we've
we
whittled
go.
it down. We've whittled it down to 3 questions from our followers.
Yeah,
That's
Um,
it. All right.
well, we got a ton, but we have to be cognizant of time as well. So,
Well,
uh,
you should have told
so
me that before I started rambling before.
no. We're good. That's not. None of that was rambling. Like, do you
no,
mean
it was
me
all good
showing the
stuff.
test shots, the
Yeah,
things that
Yeah,
people actually want to
people
see?
love that.
yeah.
Not
I just hope
rambling.
it's transcribing good on this crappy camera that I have on this
Yeah, they
computer.
look great. They
Uh,
look great.
truth be
Um,
told, like I thought it was going to be on my phone, so that's why I was. I know my camera on my phone is really good. This old computer, it's just squeaking by here. So
it's doing what it needs to
It's
do.
doing what it needs to.
So we have three
good.
questions. Dave, do you wanna take the first one here?
Yes. At Kevin Thomas QMI asks, is there any chance articulation can be added to Lord Alfred Hayes and Sean Mooney to sit at a commentary desk?
Spoiler alert. Yes, they're gonna have articulation in the legs. Yes, yes,
Wow.
we've already taken the steps to start upgrading. Not only thanks to Matt Cardona's incessant, is that the right word? Incessant
That's
bitching.
That sounds about right.
Uh,
yeah.
but yes, uh, yes, they will have articulation in the legs somehow. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I don't want it to hinder the aesthetic of the figure. But yes, they will. The short answer is yes, there will be some sort of articulation in that suit body. Um, we've already added so we can use the body and kind of do like we did with the suit bodies that we had made recently. They will have like a piece that is going to be changed out by the factory, and they'll have bow ties, and then some of them will have long ties and stuff. So it's the same premise that we did with all the other suits that we're making, but the legs there'll be something there. I'm going to try to figure something out. Like we already kind of like have it revised, but we have to make sure it can work. So
Okay.
I still don't think a suit body needs to do a split, but
probably not.
Just doesn't.
No, they could be at the desk, or they could be at the standing in the control
That's
center.
it. Do they need to do a split or a super kick? I don't think so. It's not Commissioner Shawn Michaels. So
I might be overthinking it, but like maybe if it's like, what if it's just swappable bottoms? Like you just like pop the torso off and plug it into a new set of legs that are just permanently...
like one that's already sitting. That would be cool. Like I said, when I first envisioned this whole thing, again, I really was only going to make one 6-inch figure. It wasn't going to be. It was going to be the fuller to go with your, other ones that it fits in with from the movie, right? So when I did it, I was like, he just happens to be here, of course, because this is my desk. So I was like, he's just got to stand there, and he's got to be hanging out with Zeus, right? And that's it. He's like, he's going to be talking shit to Rip, right? So does he need to bend? Like, what's this guy going to do? Did he sit for more than 2 minutes in the movie? I don't think so. But then as we started progressing, now it's like, I should be able to sit. He should be able to do this. He should be able to do breakdancing. Fine. Okay, so now he's going to do that, I guess, at some point. So yes, the long. See, this is why you need to, you got to cut me off. So, but yes, he will have some kind of articulation in his legs now. I love the way the pants look. They have, I don't know how good you can see on 1985 camera.
The little like creases.
Yeah,
the creases.
So then you start adding that. It's I wanted them to be a cross between like the movie Maniacs from McFarlane that were almost like statues, but they were still figures. Yep. I understand they're wrestlers and they got to bend and all this other kind of stuff, but I figured each figure could have its own set of articulation. So this one would have been like an announcer. So you put him with your other figures, and he fits in seamlessly as far as like size and proportions and things like that. Then you have your wrestlers who. But
if you think about the movie, though, all he does is yell, say jackass, and get electrocuted. Like
that's it, and he dies at the end. That's it. Well, so we think he dies. Maybe there'll be a sequel one day. Who knows? He seemed down for it. I don't know. Maybe. Great guy, by the way. Love him. But yeah, so it will have some kind of adjustment. We're working on it now. Now that we have the pegs and we have all the different means to, we finally figured out all that stuff. So it'll come to pass at some point. So he'll probably be now further down the trough, but it'll still come to fruition. So.
All right. So our next question comes from David X Parks, and he asks, "Are there any updates on the Val Venus and Tatanka figures?"
Sean Morley, aka Val Venus, is still coming. I'm still gonna make him. I'm making a figure of a wrestler that I enjoyed watching, and I mean, who was not an adolescent that didn't love seeing Jenna Jameson with Val Venus in a vignette? I mean, we were all watching the movies anyway in high school. I mean, that he was the man, right? Like, he was awesome. A porn star wrestler. It was my two favorite things when I was in high school. But I mean, So yes, I'm still gonna make it, and the man, I'm not making these as political statements. I'm not making these as controversial things. I signed the man to make a wrestling figure of him from when he was in wrestling, like when he was a wrestler, a full-time wrestler. So that's what I'm making. Anything that anybody says, outside of what I'm producing here, that's out of my control. I'm just, like I said, I'm making a figure for the fans of Val Venus, aka Sean Morley, what he later became known as, right, with the whole Truth Commission, not Truth Commission, sorry, Right to Censor.
Right to Censor.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. You can choose not to buy it. If you don't want to buy it, you don't buy it. If you want to buy it, you buy it. I guarantee you, it's going to look awesome. It's going to look like it fits in with, the mid to late '90s Val Venus. You know what I mean? So it'll be cool. Whether or not I'm still going to make it a jumper, I'm still on the fence about. I wanted to do it. That would have been the only one that I think I ever. Any jump. I hate the jumpers. Snuka was my favorite jumper. Another controversial one, I guess now, right? But
Yeah.
all the other jumpers, I could have lived without them. They were never my. I always made them either jobbers or they never used them. I hated those
You
legs.
you couldn't put them in like submission holds.
No, I think I
That's
did
what I'm
like
saying.
Janetti was a
Coco was
jumper,
my favorite.
right? Wasn't
Janetti.
Janetti was a jumper
Yeah,
that I used a
Coco.
lot.
I used when the other Genetti came, I was so excited. Like the dark blue card with Giant Gonzalez and everything. I loved it because I love that body. That was like where the fuck is it now? I don't know where I put him.
Like the Warrior and Macho Man being jumpers made me so mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Warrior
that's
being
silly.
a jumper was the weirdest. That was the
The
weirdest.
best Warrior was the Series 2 Warrior with the press slam. So
Yeah.
the other one was okay. But he was totally immobile. He couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
It's like, and his feet went up and down. Which what good does that do us? But yeah, this is probably one of my most favorite style Hasbro bodies. So that's why I think that's another reason. And I think a lot of people love this body. I think a lot of people love that Macho Man #1. A lot of people like the Shawn Michaels, right? Both of them.
Yep.
The Marty Jannetty, like I said. There's even Rick Martel used it too. But yeah, it was it's a great body.
Was great.
Yes, and the fact that these were kind of like the feet were together, but they still weren't jumpers. For some reason, it just helped the aesthetic of how it looked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, still coming, and yes, we will still make my friend old Chris Chavis, my buddy, one of my first friends in the wrestling business, actually, as far as talent that came to my store and helped me get a little bit more notable in the wrestling world. So yes, his figure will still come at a later date. So yes, both of those are coming.
Very cool. Dave,
I hope I expressed that the best way I could.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not making a figure of the man who is on whatever the man's doing now. It's his business. I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm making a wrestling figure. So whatever it is, it is.
I mean, let's. I think we can all say kind of confidently that it's really hard with how connected the world is and how fast information is shared and how public people can choose to be with their opinions and feelings about things.
Yes.
It's one of those things where these people never voiced their opinions for a very, very long time. And
Right.
there's a part of, the example that I think everyone is probably most comfortable with at this point is Hulk Hogan, right?
Right.
Like Hulk Hogan is problematic. He's a problematic guy. Did I just happily buy Ichiban Hulk Hogan Legends the other day at Target? I absolutely
Target?
Yeah. Did I love that Then Now Forever 4-pack featuring another Hulk Hogan? Absolutely. Like he's just there are some of these guys that are just they're part of our childhoods.
Right. And you're buying a figure that represents their wrestling tenure or when they were in the spotlight for that.
Or a memory you've had or
right,
something.
world champion, intercontinental champion.
Yeah.
I do not, I do not it's almost like I'm in a bubble. I just want to make my figures, and if people like them and they want to buy them, then
and
buy them.
And people who don't want to buy it for the reason that they don't want to buy it is a completely perfect and respectable reason.
And that's their right. That's like, even if I put out any figure. Let's just say for some reason they don't like Dan Spivey. They didn't like Waylon Mercy. They thought it was a stupid idea, even though it was the seed planted for Bray Wyatt many years later. But it's like, he was almost like his grandfather in wrestling in a way. Like, if you really think about it, it's weird. But I always thought it was a cool character. You know what I mean? I always liked the bad guys. I always liked the heels. I always found them to be more interesting than the goody baby face. You know, like there are of course baby faces that I loved, but I always kind of gravitated towards the heels. They just made it so much more interesting. Like always the rogue gal, even in Batman. Like you look at all the
Oh yeah, a
Clayface,
hero is
Joker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
nothing without their villains. A
Mm-hmm.
hero is
Right.
nothing without their supervillains. I mean, it's just
Yep.
that's what
So
makes it
I
interesting.
love it, and like I said, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to offend people. I'm just making the figures that I contracted to make, and of wrestlers that I enjoyed when I was a kid. So that's it.
Hey, I will never in a million years I will never forget. It is a promo that is permanently burned into my brain because it
Oh,
almost with Val Venus because it almost got me banned from watching wrestling. The famous "Honey, did you find the remote?" Promo where he's
with
lying in bed with uh
Mrs. Yamaguchi.
Mrs. Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi San's wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My our mother happened to walk in the room.
Oh no. I mean, that's before he tried to choppy pee pee, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
that
that.
whole that I mean, again, problematic as hell now with the
Yeah.
lens of like
Yeah,
hindsight,
well, I don't
but
know. They're saying Netflix is gonna be a little raunchy now, so I'm kind of excited.
yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping that they're saying that the Raw is gonna be Raw again. I don't
Well,
know. I don't know
at
if they're
least
gonna cower out, but
hopefully they just stop. It's very annoying now with the when they have to mute the crowd when the crowd's just chanting like you know
you
somebody
fucked up.
sucks or you
Yeah.
fucked up or something like that, and they have
Yeah.
to mute
Yeah.
the whole broadcast to because the crowds are so big now and everyone's so
Or
loud.
like when a person in the crowd gives the finger and like the screen goes black.
Yeah, or has
Black.
like a nasty sign or
It's so
something like that.
silly.
Yeah, it's.
They I don't think they should go.
I don't want to see Attitude Era stuff again,
Me
just because
neither.
the product has
No.
evolved so much.
No, I want to see
Yes.
what it's doing now, but without bleeps.
Yes,
That's it.
exactly.
Right. Like when The
Maybe a
Rock
little
did that
more.
thing with Cody, like love him or hate him or whatever, like
It was
I
unreal.
Yes.
love that. Like when the rain in the back, they would oh man, I
Hmm.
was like, wow, this is like
It was
Yeah, it was like
it's
cinema.
hardcore
it was
cinema
like
now.
that. It was
Like,
a movie. Yeah.
yes.
It
I
looked like
loved it.
it
I
looked like
loved
Blade
it.
Runner.
Him wiping the blood on the thing, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love The Rock. I don't care what anything. Oh yeah, whatever. That man, like, part of me wishes they'd still gone with the original plan. I thought it would have made sense, and then like he could
I
have beat
can't wait to watch
Roman, and
that.
then it would have made then Cody could have beat The Rock, and that would have been more like The Rock was the one who beat Cody, but then like if Cody beat The Rock, then that means technically he beat Roman and The Rock. You know what I mean? It would have made a lot of sense that way. I understand I love Cody. My son loves Cody. My wife loves. Everybody loves Cody. We're cool with
Yeah,
Cody. We love it.
yeah.
But I think if they had maybe just let it roll a little bit, I think it worked the way they did it too. But I think it would have worked. Or they could have had Roman versus Rock in the first night, and then whoever won that goes to fight Cody the second night. That would have made sense. But they didn't do that either. So
They made it work. They made it work.
Yeah,
they
they made
made
it
it
work.
work. Everybody was happy, I guess. But I love The Rock, and I thought that was awesome. That what he did, and he really pulled it off. I think in the match, it was
Yeah.
very little,
Hmm.
except for that one when he slipped in the corner. They showed him falling like in the turnbuckle or whatever. But other than that, I
Yeah.
thought he did pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Dave,
All right.
do you want to tackle our
Yeah.
last Q&A here?
I got one from at Phil09061984. Happy birthday in September, Phil. Will you shift over to WCW era stuff and go after talent like Glacier or Norman Smiley? And you tease this a little bit with Mark Marrow.
there will be a Johnny B. Bad looking figure. I don't know I don't know if I'm allowed to call him Johnny B. Bad yet. I have to still research this, but this is kind of still fresh. But it will be reminiscent of what he looked like when he was Johnny B. Bad. So we're gonna do that, which I think falls into that timeline, right? When if he was in WWE as Johnny B. Bad, they would have made a Hasbro of him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of missed that because they made a San Francisco toy maker a big rubber guy of him, right?
Yep.
Um,
Just
because he
please don't
missed the
start making
Galoob.
the Galoob style guys too. Don't go down that road, please. Please.
No, I have my. Trust me, I have my hand. It would have been easier than
I
doing
love
these
my
fully
Galoobs, though.
It would have been a lot easier than doing the fully articulated figures, I think. But there's like zero articulation there, so there's nothing to worry about.
Hmm.
No breakage. It's one solid piece. At least it's supposed to be. So uh, that's why when you play with them when you were a kid, like the paint would scratch off because they injected them all in skin tone and painted everything on. So
Yeah.
now it's like
Yep.
and back then they weren't using the same kind of paint I think that they use now.
No, you
It's
had guys
like
that ended up looking like they were naked because their trunks were way off.
yes, yeah. You
Yeah,
go
it
to
was
the,
like
you
LJNs, but small.
yes, and you find like your dollar bin. Sometimes you even find them chewed on too, like in the LJNs. Teeth marks, like my NES controller when I was a kid. Because I'd get so mad, I'd fucking bite the controllers. But yeah, they no, you don't have to worry about that with me. Maybe one day a special edition or something, but I don't see that I don't foresee that happening ever. I'll never say never for anything. Let's put it that way.
But
But uh,
as far as
you know,
potentially like WCW guys,
WCW guys, yes. I have two of them signed already that
All
are
right.
going to be coming out very soon, and the molds are already under making, as they say in China. They're under making, Mister Mitch. So yes, there will be a WCW, more WCW known characters than they were known for in WWF at the time. F at the time. So yes, we are leaking into that territory. I think so.
Okay. Well, with that, we have finished our Q&A. This has
yes,
been a packed episode. But
action packed.
There's a
as
lot.
you
There's a
as you
lot.
know from the last time you were on here, we have a little bit of a tradition where before we let our guests go, we have a final question that we ask. Since you are a returning guest, we have an alternate final question for you to answer. So, Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask Mr. Mitch our final question?
Why, yes, I would. So, Mitch, as you are a returning guest, you have already answered the final question that we ask all of our guests. So, we have prepared a new final question for you. Mitch, your new final question is, if you could make yourself a figure in any line, what would it be and what would your accessories be?
It would definitely be a Hasbro for sure. And I think I would make him in a suit, like a pink suit, like the way that I appeared on the FWF multiple pay-per-views in the pink suit. Um, I may or may not exist one day.
Okay. All right. And what about your
Is that
accessory?
an
What's
accessory?
what's
I mean, I guess a
accessory?
Yeah.
microphone. I'm boring, or a little figure of myself, maybe. I don't know. I
What
would say
about
microphone is probably a safe bet.
what about a pen for all those contracts?
All the signings, sign on the dotted
A pen
line.
and a clipboard?
Or
Yeah,
like
clipboard and a pen.
that Sergeant Slaughter ringside collection where he has all those papers in his hand and it's like they
Yes.
can't even take them out, and then other ones like this.
Or the
Yeah.
Batista?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Permanent stack of papers.
yes. But yeah, it's definitely a. Although nowadays I might be able to get away with my old wrestling gear. I feel like it's not as shameful to make that now because I'm a little bit in better shape now. So, but I would say the safe bet would be pink suit.
Pink suit Hasbro. All right.
A lot of people, I believe it or not, a lot of people have asked me, "Where's the Mitch figure coming?" Because now other people who, you know, may not be as notable have gotten figures of themselves, and they're like, "Why didn't like?" People are always like, "Why don't you make a Mitch figure?" So if I do make it, it won't be like 1,000 made. It's probably going to be like 100, and maybe I'll sell
Yeah.
half of them.
That's fair. But no,
you
I
know,
think that's cool though.
I'll buy the other half.
Yeah.
That's one of these. That's the
So
thing. Like one of these about being a smaller company like this. Like you could do like I say this word out of respect and in an endearing way, but like you could do like stupid fun stuff like that. Like you have
yeah,
the
You
power to be
you
able to
make the
do that,
rules.
which is
I mean,
like it's stupid, but it's also awesome. Like you have the
Hmm.
opportunity, like they, Ringside just shared that video of Maxine Dupree getting her first like her
Right.
first figure for the first
Yeah.
time,
She opened the
and that
box. Yeah.
yeah, and that feel and watching that, like it's just
Hmm.
contagious. And if you have the opportunity to make an action figure, like if somebody asked me and it was within means, like, hey, Dave, Eric, do you want to have action figures of yourself? Absolutely yes. Like absolutely
Hmm.
yes.
I keep
So,
I keep like stopping myself from doing it. Like it's one of those things. Like I really would just love even just to have one. You know what I mean? Like even a custom
yeah.
or you know what I mean? Like I just want one. Like and will he still have the glasses? That's the question. Like now, do you still make him with the glasses, or do you give him no glasses now? I don't
I
know. I
think
think
it kind of
he's got to have the glasses
it
because
goes with
like
that look with the suit.
Yeah, it goes with the.
yeah, all my logos, like all the things that
Yeah.
I've embarrassed myself with
Hmm.
over the years, like they all have the glasses, right? So maybe it kind of has to have my logo has just been the same idea for the since I started. So maybe it needs the glasses. Maybe he's got to have that. Makes more sense.
Yeah, no,
So.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna go like Hasbro or Ghostbuster, so that's why.
Oh, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I would love that too. I that might be like a 3D printed type thing where it's just gonna be like a one of one. The other thing I think is a strong possibility you'll see it down the line somewhere. It just has to be done.
Yeah.
Has to be done. So,
Hmm.
Well, Mitch,
but that's a
thank
great
you.
question. I love it.
Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
for joining us tonight. For giving us a look at everything. Before we
Yeah.
sign off and let you go to sleep, tell our listeners, where can they find you online? Where can they order figures? Let it rip. Where you at?
It's HastelToy.com. You can find us on Instagram. That's where I'm most relevant, I think. Facebook is probably second most relevant. And now we're slowly building up our X account. I still want to say Twitter, but X. I think we just broke. It's not a big number, but we've been. I've had a buddy of mine, Hasbro Dan, in the UK. He's been helping me with that. I kind of gave him the reins to be like the moderator of that realm, which is something I never thought I'd do. But he's been doing such a great job with that. So we just beat like I think 300, well over like 300 followers on there, which is it's only been a little bit of time, so it's not bad. When we just actually, I didn't even make a post about it because I've been so busy with my other personal stuff in my life. But we just broke 18,000 followers on Instagram, which seemed like it
Nice.
took forever. We got to 17, and then it took like months to get to 18.
Yeah.
But I think the Regium figures definitely help propel us a little bit more because now we're tapping into a little bit. Even though we had customers that would buy elite figures from us and stuff, but now when you're making your own 6-inch articulated figures, you're kind of tapping into um, other audiences and stuff like that. So
Yep.
thank you to those people for coming aboard. Appreciate it. But yes, that's
Well,
where we're at.
we'll be sure to share links to all of those things in the show notes. That way, if you are not following already, all you got to do is go tap on the links and hit those follow and like buttons, and stay tuned for much more from Hasttel Toy and Grapplers and Gimmicks. Mitch, thank you again one last time for joining
Thank
us.
you for having me.
It's always a blast chatting. Dave, send us home.
I was gonna sing the Rougeau's theme, but I'm still not better
All
yet.
American
American
boys. There
boys.
you go.